Welcome to Club Reddit, where being a member is always free. Simply mash that subscribe button and relax into a new video each day. I just saw a lady get tasered for trying to snatch a woman's face mask to give to her child. We were at the dreaded big box store picking up potting soil because we are going to DIY ourselves through the isolation. Things aren't crazy here yet, but there is a 2 per customer limit on a majority of items. I assume this means everything, so we're getting 2 bags each of a few different types of soil. My husband is loading the last of 8 bags on our cart when I hear her. I know it's a Karen just by the level of unnecessary outrage in her voice. Karen, are you kidding me? Not a lot of people out here in the garden center, but we all look to her. I was almost disappointed to see she didn't come with the requisite haircut. She actually looked like a frazzled mom, her kid tugging on her hand and an overfull handbasket of groceries, and I had a moment of, girl, I feel you. But darn it, she was pointing at us. Karen, you can't buy that many. You are hoarding. My husband, yeah we can, we're getting 2 each. Karen, oh you don't fool me. I know what you're doing. My husband, so do I, screw off. I'm just sitting there imagining all the ways I'm gonna rock his world tonight. Well, Karen huffed at that, spun around and yanked her kid back inside to go complain to the employee working the register nearby. Now, we already paid for our items, the employee had come out and scanned the bags earlier and he could easily see our cart from inside. So, being finished, we pushed the cart out of the garden center into the parking lot. And then the automatic doors open behind us and I hear, now they're stealing. Just great. We load the soil in the car and turn around to bring the cart back and look at plants. By the time we get back, Karen has given up on trying to convince the employee we're the Bonnie and Clyde of dirt and is now trying to negotiate skipping somebody in line. She has a child, you see, and her hand basket, well it's just so full and heavy. Could she please just scooch right on in here real quick and it'll just be an extra second, she swears. The woman Karen is trying to skip is young, maybe college age, and wearing a face mask. Not a medical mask, but the stretchy kind you'd wear while riding a motorcycle or when you're skiing. My husband has just informed me it's a neck gaiter. The mask is black and has like scary wolf teeth on it that honestly made the girl look like somebody you should not screw with, even though she was wearing a Gap t-shirt and flip-flops. Mask girl is just shaking her head no, and that's all I got as we dropped off the cart. I browse, pick up a couple plants, and we head inside to wait in line. Now it's showtime. Karen and Mask Girl are near the register facing off, no pun intended. From the looks of things, Mask Girl finished her purchase and Karen stopped her before she could leave. I dunno if she grabbed her or anything, but Karen was still holding her full hand basket, so she hadn't checked out yet. Well, she hadn't paid for her groceries yet, because clearly this woman had checked out. Karen, but you don't even need it now, you're leaving. My son could get sick because you won't give it to him and he needs it. Mask Girl, heck no, you can't have it. Back off, lady. Karen, but my son really likes it and it's obviously made for boys anyway, why would you even want to wear something so scary? Mask Girl, because I like it. And it has my germs on it, why would you put a stranger's mask on your kid? Karen, why are you being so rude? You wouldn't let us go through the checkout first and now you're making my son very upset. Mask Girl, your problem, not mine. And then Mask Girl turns to leave while Karen manifests the biggest balls ever and grabs Mask Girl by the back of her mask. Let me make a side note here. When all of this is going down, we're all just standing in line and watching. The register is still going boop boop boop, as the employee scans items, but otherwise we are all just inside this hypnotic bubble. But when Karen reached out towards Mask Girl, it was like the bubble popped and made everything crystal clear. Not slow-mo or anything, but I absolutely felt hyper-aware. Like Spider-Man. Karen reaches out, people on both sides of me inhale loudly, Karen grabs the mask and yanks, a lady on my right yells and my husband steps forward, so getting laid tonight. Mask Girl tucks her head down and she turns to Karen like a peeved-off bull with a bright and shiny new target. I think Karen was going to say something like, don't walk away from me, or something, but all she got out was, don't crack. I looked around because the noise was so loud I figured the roof was about to cave in, but out of the corner of my eye I see Karen spasm and drop to the floor writhing. Little Miss Mask Girl had a freaking taser. I dunno when she pulled it out, this tiny little flashlight looking thing, but she laid Karen out with it. And not one of us moved for what felt like forever, like we were frozen. And then it was freaking bedlam. Security guard shows up, more employees show up, masked girl is chilling like she's been through this before and knows what comes next. The kid is screaming that the wolf girl killed his mom even though she's groaning and sobbing on the floor and clearly not dead but maybe wishing she was. The people that had been in line with us were all talking at once trying to tell the security guard what happened. We hung around just witnessing the insanity for maybe 2 minutes before Karen started choking out demands for an ambulance, the police, a lawyer, the mayor, restitution, and reparations. My husband made eye contact with an employee and got a thumbs up when he put the plants on a shelf and pointed towards the door. We got the freak out of there. We drove home in silence until my husband parked the car in our driveway and then we just burst out laughing. Neither of us have ever seen anything like that before. We live in a small beach town, people are super laid back and mellow. Karen was anything but, and I hope to never see her again. Next up we have, entitled mother lets her kid steal my blind cane. So a bit of backstory, I am a 28-year-old woman who just recently went fully blind. When I was a teenager, I volunteered with my local youth group to help rebuild Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina, and while down there I picked up a fungal parasite called histoplasmosis that over a decade migrated to my eyes and slowly caused blindness. I've been totally blind for about a year now, so I'm pretty new to it, but I digress. When I first went blind, I barely left the house and was afraid to go in public. I felt like everyone was staring at me and in all honesty I barely knew what I was doing. The transition had been difficult and I didn't have any support group to teach me. One day my husband asks if I can take an Uber down to the bank and deposit a rent check and I reluctantly agree. While out, he messages again and reminds me that we're out of a few crucial groceries. There was a Walmart grocery literally across the street from the bank, so I figure everything in life is an experience and I'll have to learn how to shop alone eventually, so why not? Everything was fine at first and I was only grabbing a few things so I didn't need a cart. I was using my cane and what little echolocation skills I had at the time to get around, but was still bumping into things as we blind tend to do sometimes. My cane suddenly hit something a bit softer and I figure maybe I had whacked someone's leg and apologize. Cue entitled kid and entitled mother. Me, shoot, I'm sorry. Entitled mother, hey. You just hit my son. Me, I'm so sorry, Mom, I didn't see him there. Entitled mother begins yelling, how could you not see him, he's clearly right here. Now I'm fully blind, but I don't wear sunglasses. Mostly because I can't afford a good UV blocking pair, but also I'm not ever looking for pity or to play the part of a generic blind person. I just want to be treated like a normal person, but I do understand her confusion as blindness is a spectrum, so I try to calmly explain. Me, Mom, I'm blind, I can't see anything, let alone your son. That's why I have to use the cane, so I can get around without. She cuts me off, if you're blind, why aren't you wearing big sunglasses? Now, as a blind person I get a lot of stupid questions, but I understand a lot of them are just people who don't know better, so I try to happily answer as many as I can. Me, those are really expensive, around $200 for a good pair, and I really don't need any inside. Entitled mother, you're not blind, you're faking it. Here is where my blood starts to boil. I can't think of any reason someone would want to pretend to be blind. It's an actual hell, and nothing peeves me off more than when someone calls me a liar when I'm not. Just as I'm about to respond, I feel a tug and before I blink I realize this little demon spawn has snatched my $100 cane from my hands. For those of you who don't understand, that's like if you're shopping and suddenly the power goes out and you can't see a single light. Without my cane, I can barely move at all without crashing into anything. My voice gets shaky as I begin to panic, please give that back. I really do need it. Entitled mother, no you don't, you liar. My son deserves to play with this more than you. I hear her shuffle away and my expensive cane cracking into metal displays and such as they leave. I start crying and waving my arms in front of me to grab onto something, anything, and end up crashing and falling into a center aisle display, making a loud scene. Without fail I somewhat curl into a ball and cry. I'm alone in public, in the dark, and I had no idea what to do. Suddenly I feel a hand on my shoulder and a man's voice, we'll call him AG for awesome guy, asks if I'm okay and to stay right here. I do, but begin to at least sit up and listen. This man must have been tall and built like a tank because his footsteps sounded like a giant and I felt a suction of wind when he took off. Maybe about 30 or 40 feet away I hear this loud bellowing like an angry lion and a loud crash, then before I know it the man is back and helping me to my feet. He takes my hand and puts my cane into my palm and helps me pick up the items I dropped when I fell into the display. Me wiping tears from my cheeks, thank you so much, I didn't know how to handle that. Gee, don't worry about it, some people are just monsters. This guy restored my faith in humanity and even helped me finish shopping and helped me out of the store. As we're leaving, I can hear the familiar screeching of entitled mother, something about AG grabbing the cane and pulling hard, flinging her little devil child into a shopping cart. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not, but it would explain the crash I heard. It's easy to feel alone in a world without sight, but even through the sheer terror of being stripped of my cane, at least I know now that there are people willing to stand up for me when I need it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop us a like and a comment below, and if you haven't already clicked on subscribe, what are you waiting for? Mash subscribe now.